friends, welcome to episode 6 of Badass Engineers, sponsored by RS Grassroots Education, powering tech, empowering youth. I am Shrouk El-Attar, your host, and I am also top 6 young women engineers in the UK. And today I am going to interview Kristen Facciol, who is such a badass. She is a robotics flight controller at the Canadian Space Agency, and she also works at NASA, and she trains astronauts from JAXA, from ESA, and we're going to ask her your questions today. So I'm really excited. I'm just going to wait for her to join the chat, and then we will be live together. Feel free to do comments through the chat as well. Hello, friends. I can see a lot of people joining. Hello, Grassroots. Feel free to ask questions while we are having a chat as well. And I'm really excited. Are you excited? Let me know in the comments. Yay. Hi, Kristen. I'm just going to wave. I can see view request. There we go. I can't believe I'm going to speak with Kristen. So she is in Canada right now. And
hi. Hello. Good, how are you?
I'm good. Let me change my camera angle a little bit. Wait, is that okay?
It's perfect. I have to change mine too now. I'll just like unbalance it up. There we go.
2021 work, all coronavirus stuff. Do you still have to go to work because you're an essential worker, I guess?
Occasionally. So all of the operations that we do with the space station are done from a control center. So anytime I'm supporting operations, I go into work for that. But otherwise, they've hooked us up. I can do everything from home. It's amazing.
I've seen your setup. There's like a billion screens there. Why do you need so many screens?
For being able to actually know what the robots are doing. So I guess like high level, for those that don't know, I get to fly robots on the space station. So part of that, I'm so nervous and excited. So anyway, so part of that involves sending commands to these systems, making sure that they behave properly, and being able to monitor everything that they're doing in real time. So all of those screens that we have are so that we can see the videos on the robots, so that we can send commands to them. We can see how they're responding to that, how they're moving in space, stuff like that. So we have so much information that we need to track.
Oh my God, it's so amazing. So I know everybody knows who you are, but we always just start with like, like an introduction. Would you like to introduce yourself to everybody who's watching? And hello, people. It's nice to see a lot of people join the chat.
So my name is Kristen. I work for the Canadian Space Agency. I am a robotics flight controller. So I get to fly robots, and I have my model just in case. So I get to operate the 17-meter long version of this in space, as well as Dexter on the space station like I've got behind me. And yeah, it's just really cool. It's such an honor to fly Canadian hardware. We have a control center that's based in Canada, and we have Canadian flight controllers as well. But the even neater part is that we work as part of an integrated team with NASA's robotic flight controllers. So cool. I got to train down in Houston at the Johnson Space Center. And
Take me!
Yeah. And now I'm back home in Montreal, and I get to operate the robotic systems from here as well. So really, really cool stuff.
That is really, 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 really cool. And I also know, I know that you were working on the team that was supposed to get the first all-female spacewalk, or the first all-female on the moon, something like that. Can you tell me a bit more about that?
Yeah. That was my unwanted 15 minutes of fame, I guess you could call it. So our team gets assigned to all of these different missions, and it changes all the time based on who's assigned to what, but we're also all trained generically enough such that we can support each other if we need to, because if somebody gets sick, we need to be able to fill in. Yeah. So I found out through our assignments that I had been assigned to a spacewalk that NASA had also put on their spacewalk assignment was going to be the first one with 2 female astronauts, and I was just over the moon part of the time. But I was so excited about it. But as is the nature of human spaceflight, things change. Yeah. And unfortunately, some of the hardware did not behave as we had expected on the spacewalk leading up to it, and the robotics leading up to it. So we had to change the whole schedule, and there was a whole thing that came of all of those reassignments. So I didn't actually get to do it. But it was just funny how like one tweet got picked up in the wrong way, and
Yeah.
I was promoted from flight controller to flight director to astronaut in a matter of 24 hours. And I was like, what is happening? I'll never tweet again.
Are you still like, do you still have pride in this, even though it didn't go to plan?
Absolutely. I take pride every day in what I get to do. And I think being a part of human spaceflight and being a part of the team that gets to advance space exploration and advance our capabilities and improve what we're able to then do on Earth based on what we've learned from what's been done in space is just such a cool thing. So
it is really cool. Everything about you is really cool, and we've had so many questions come in. So I've got people's questions in this beautiful bag.
Amazing.
And then basically we've got 20 minutes, well, a bit less now, just to go through as many as we can. So I'm sorry not everybody's questions is gonna get answered properly, but are you ready to go through some questions?
I'm ready, and I'll go so fast. We'll get through all the questions.
Let's do it. Okay. So there is an ever-changing theme tune to this show, and today is
I also hum when I'm nervous, so I might just add something to that theme song. Who knows?
Yes, please do. Next time we do the questions, it's your theme song, okay?
Oh, no, that's too much pressure. You can't do that.
Sorry, I am sorry.
All right, I'll try.
Okay, so this question is from Mac.Kuzik. What opportunities did she take that helped her career?
Okay, that's a great question. So in terms of opportunities, one of the things that I really like to encourage people to do is not to shy away from them. And I started saying this thing that I'm not going to say as my phrase. I'm sure somebody else has said it, but I've gotten comfortable with the notion of being uncomfortable. So I find that pushing yourself beyond your limits and taking on challenges and opportunities that scare you a little bit are really the only way that we're able to grow and learn and adapt to new situations. So like personally for me, the opportunities that I took on were once I had finished the first program that I was working on when I first joined MDA, McDonald Detweiler and Associates, the company that made the robotic systems.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Yeah. So they made the robots, and then as part of a program with CSA, and then they got sold to NASA, and everybody works together. It's a big happy space family. Yeah.
My little unicorn is happy about this information.
I brought my happy is mug also.
Thank you, Iz. We love you.
We love you. So yeah, I forgot where I was going with that. Oh, right. So as soon as that program ended, someone approached me, my manager at the time, he approached me with the opportunity to move to Montreal and work as part of the real-time operations team. And I had never left Toronto, and I was so nervous and so scared, and it ended up being the best decision that I could have ever made. But you know, it was all part of not being afraid to take that opportunity and to think like, okay, I'm going to uproot my life in Toronto, move to Montreal, and just start fresh with this new job. And from there, everything kind of just took off as well.
Yeah. And I think like also for me, like there's a lot of things that maybe I've been put forward for and I've been scared of taking it because I'm like, oh, well, I don't know if I can do that. And honestly, like 3 months in, I'm like, why did I ever think I couldn't do that? But it's happened so many times. And now I don't wait to be put forward anymore. I'm just like, this sounds cool. I don't know how to do it now, but I'm sure I'll learn how to do it when I join.
And that's so important. And like another thing that I found was really beneficial for me is, you know, even if I wasn't being put forward for that, if there was something that I thought was interesting, or there was a mission that I was really excited about, instead of waiting to be asked, I expressed my interest and I said, this sounds amazing. I want to do this, even if I was doubting myself at the time. And, you know, a lot of the time you're helping somebody out by making that decision instead of being told to have to do it. So, I found that was a really useful skill for me to learn, where like, don't just sit around waiting for those opportunities to come, and really seek out the ones that you want based on what you're passionate about.
Absolutely. And I also like find kind of, even if something is not open, so even if there's no open positions right now, just go for it. Just find out who's on the team and be like, hey, I'm really interested in this. Please, can you think of me like in the future?
Yeah.
Are you ready?
For research opportunities? Yes, I'm ready. Okay.
Wait. No. Finish what you were going to say.
The same thing goes for research opportunities. I find that approaching a professor, if you're interested in the work that they're doing, even though they might not necessarily be advertising that they have that position open, might end up, you know, resulting in them creating that spot for you. So absolutely search for those chances.
Totally. And I can see also Jammy Jam 70 says, great advice. Thank you, Jammy. And Jardine Krista, hopefully I read it right, says great. Okay. Your theme song. Do you want to go for it?
Da, 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 da.
Da, 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 da. I love it. Okay, let's see. Ooh. Okay. From Matt Kuzik again. Some advice for a young university student hoping to get into the space industry, please.
Yeah, tons of advice, I guess. I don't want to waste all the time on just a couple of questions, but high level, making connections is so important. Talking to people about the opportunities and careers that exist. One thing that I found out kind of late in the game was, how much was available in the space industry. We are brought up thinking, if I want to be involved in space, I need to be an astronaut. That is absolutely not the case. There are so many career paths that you can take. We have an incredible team at CSA that is involved in all aspects of it. We're talking human health, public outreach, communications, education.
Oh yeah, of course.
And then,
about that.
Right. And so everybody has different strengths. Everybody is going to have different opportunities, but it's really important not to think the only way that I can work in space is to be an astronaut or an engineer, because that's absolutely not true. And you can kind of create your own path based on what you're interested in, and maybe even make a job that we don't know we need yet, and find a way to work that into the architecture of the space industry in the future.
Did you always know you wanted to work at the Canadian Space Agency, or is it something that came later?
It definitely came later.
Really?
For most of my life, I wanted to be a pediatrician, actually.
No.
Yeah.
What? That's a massive career difference.
It's a little bit different. But pediatrician evolved to astronaut doctor, and that then evolved to, I'm actually really excited about robotics. I wonder if I could do something with robotics. And it just kind of kept evolving and reforming and taking shape as I went through university and as I started my career, because a lot of the time you don't necessarily know what jobs exist until you're, much deeper into that process.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think when I was younger, I always kind of dreamed of working for NASA or something. And then, I don't know, I guess as I grow older, it always just felt like a dream, like an unachievable thing. Is this would you say it's really difficult for people to make that happen, or is it easier than we think?
I think it depends, unfortunately, a lot on where you live.
Yeah.
So, I think a lot of the time, working in the space and defense industry really comes down to nationality, and every country has their own different levels of protection in place, and that completely makes sense in that industry. So I wouldn't say that it's unattainable. I think the opportunities exist, but they're very much location dependent. So NASA, for example, because you mentioned it, is massive. They have facilities all over the US, and just at the Johnson Space Center, they have thousands of people. So I know that in the time that I spent down there, I was often seeing announcements that were going out to hire new people. So I know there's no shortage of jobs that are available, but of course, working for NASA requires you to be a US citizen. And in a similar way, different country space agencies will have different processes.
And there's no space agency in Egypt, friends. Sad situation. I'm ready for another question. Say again, sorry.
Maybe in the future there will be.
Come on, Egypt. Come on, Egypt. Do it. Yalla ya Masr, yalla. What was your theme tune like again? We can make a new one.
No, it's your turn this time.
Okay, I'm gonna make a new one. Oh, that one just fell out. This question is from Gina Craig, and it says, do you have any advice for someone just getting into robotics on where to start?
Oh gosh. I'm trying to think back to where I started, but I'm also recognizing there is so much more now than there was when I was just getting excited about it. like my robotics club in high school was basically taking apart remote control cars, and it was just something we did in the cafeteria.
But you took it apart?
Yeah, I took them apart and tried to put them back together and change them in different ways. So it wasn't really robotics, but it was my first introduction to electronics, and also just understanding how things worked and were put together by dismantling it.
Yeah.
Which would come in handy in university that I didn't know at the time, but it did. So
it comes in handy after university as
Yeah.
well. If you want to do teardowns, or if you're looking at competitor products or something and you're like,
Yeah.
well, I just want to know how this works.
Or just with stuff around your house, instead of going out and, you know, tossing it in the garbage and having to replace it, like trying to figure out how to fix it is kind of fun sometimes. So yeah, in terms of, you know, getting involved now, I find that there are so many free programs that are available to learn coding, for example, which is, I mean, I had a class teaching me about Microsoft Office when I was in high school, so I know that we're way past that now. I'm not trying to age myself here.
Sorry,
but,
I shouldn't have laughed like that.
Yeah,
Sorry, I'm an awful person.
No, but it just goes to show you that in, you know, not a very long amount of time, or like a crazy amount, it's just been like this massive change in what's available to us. And now I find that like 5-year-olds are better at using phones than I am. Like I was here thinking, how do I join a live? What's going on? I don't know what to press. But and I'm sure a kid could have showed me that. So I find that there are a lot of resources available. And the thing that's important to learn and to understand about robotics is that it's a very multidisciplinary thing. So it's not just, okay, I'm going to learn how to build things, or I'm going to learn how to code things. Like you're looking at software, electrical, mechanical, you're looking at embedded control systems. So there's a whole bunch of stuff that has to work together for a robot to then be able to move, which means that if you're not great at programming, which I was not, then I could focus my efforts and my skills on something else. And then even after you've got this robot that you've built, there's going to need to be somebody to operate it. So you have operations engineering, you have systems engineering in terms of how everything integrates together. So I guess my advice then is to look at those resources, look at those subsystems, and learn how they all work together, and get smart on as much of it as possible.
Would you say that Arduinos are a good place to start with that? Because there's a lot of tutorials online on YouTube, etc., and instruction
I don't know if I even know enough to speak to that.
Really?
Yeah, I the only thing that I kind of...
You went straight into the big stuff. You're like, I'm not going to deal with the maker stuff.
Like, no, that's not true. I started with Lego Mindstorms. So
oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was actually part of, I did an undergrad research scholarship between my 3rd and 4th years in university, and the lab that I was working in, one of the, I can't remember if it was a master's or a PhD student, but one of the students was working on machine learning using Lego Mindstorms. So I got to yeah, I got to help out with that project a little bit. But what was neat about that summer was I kind of just got to work on everything. So they had me doing my own little research project, which was on flapping wing robotics. I was helping another student with a lunar excavator design, and then I was helping this student with machine learning using Lego Mindstorm. So I got, in 4 months, exposed to so many different aspects of it, and it was a lot of fun.
I just love that you use Lego Mindstorms in that way. I love Lego Mindstorms. It's amazing. And hello, everybody else who's just joined as well. And I can see we have run out of time, but I don't want this to end. How about one more question? I know.
Let's do 10 more minutes.
let's do some more. How about one more? Yes?
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Don't make me sing again though.
I was gonna.
Da, 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 da. There we go. That's it.
Okay. Oh, we've got one big question. It's a really big question. So this question is from Iman, who is from Egypt. Hello, Egypt. I want to ask a question about women in science. Do you think that there is enough female professors, heads of departments, deans in universities nowadays? Because I always thought that worldwide it's a problem for our generation to see female scientists not see female scientists in leading roles, even when they're geniuses. And I want it to change so bad. And it's a long question. And what do you think we can do to fix this as aspiring scientists from a fellow scientist in nanoelectronics?
Hello. That is a great question. And fortunately so I've been working for over 11 years now. And then factor in, university before that. One thing that I've seen in the time that I've been involved is a massive change in terms of representation, which has been amazing. It's absolutely been for the better.
How long do you think you started noticing that change, though? Was it more recently?
It was definitely more recently. I think early on in university, there were only about, I want to say 20% female in my program.
Okay.
So it was...
That's more than mine. Mine was like 5%.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's low.
It was pretty...
Yeah.
It definitely wasn't more than 10%. And I think it was maybe a little more than 5%, but not much.
Okay. Yeah. No, and I know that depending on the program and the specific area of engineering or science that you're studying, it can change and it can fluctuate. But the good thing is that we're seeing strides in the right direction. Like the dean of U of T engineering, I went to the University of Toronto, was a woman. And it was amazing. And she was a fantastic role model. And I thought that it was very good for our faculty to have that representation. And even in my career, I just find that I've seen the numbers going up and increasing. But in terms of what we can do, I can't say that it was an easy road to get here. There were definitely struggles that I faced as a woman in engineering. And the important thing to remember through all of that is that I don't want anybody coming in future generations to have to go through those same struggles. So I want to make the environment as welcoming as I possibly can. I want to provide whatever insight or advice I can to those future generations to make the experience better for them. And I love the phrase empowered women empower women, and just kind of keeping that mentality and knowing that there are still steps that we need to take and still ways that we can all be better, and recognizing that at the end of the day, we should all be working towards a common goal and helping everyone around us, like regardless of how they identify, to be better and to make what we're working towards achievable.
Absolutely. And I can see like loads of people are really excited about what you're saying, and some people, my name is Elena, saying, oh my god, I should have joined earlier, cry face, but it's okay, you can watch this later, it's recorded. And
even
some people say again,
even the singing is recorded. You didn't tell me that.
Sorry.
No, I'm just kidding.
Watch a real Canadian Space Agency engineer sing, everybody. And a lot of people are shocked about the gender splits in our degrees. So Erin Richards saying there's this 40%, and Parsha Patel, back home in India, we were 3 girls in class of core physics in a class of 40 to 50. Oh my god, that's awful. And actually in Egypt, I think the split is more like 50-50, which is kind of strange. And in university level, but not when it comes to working. Like when you start working, it becomes being a different story. Like men are definitely prioritized for jobs because they're seen as more of the, bringer of money to the house. But
I actually read a very interesting book called Invisible Women recently that talks about the gender data gap. I loved it. And
me too.
Yeah, it was a great read.
It is a really good book. I really recommend it too. And it made me really angry though. So I have a cup of calming tea next to you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Kristen. I really loved talking to you. And I want to ask you so many other things. And I can't wait to see you in real life, hopefully when all of this is over. And thank you, RS Grassroots, for sponsoring this series. And I'll see you in 2 weeks for another badass engineer. Thank you, Kristen. Ma salama.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.